Here we are, folks. Yet another episode of Behind the Start Line. I'm so happy to be here with you all today on the pod, on YouTube, wherever it happens to be that you are viewing or listening to us from. My name is Eric Burnett, and I'm super excited to be here with my partner in crime, Troy Schooley. Troy, looking good, man.
Thanks, buddy. How are you doing today? Sun's
Good.
out.
Yes.
Weather's good. People are all over the trail today. It's a good day.
Yes. It is a good day. I was back out on the North Park Trail with Shepard, my son.
Yep.
First time in months that I've been able to run in the stroller with him. I mean, I probably would have tried, but I didn't want to like freeze my child.
Right.
But so yeah, we waited until the thaw.
A lot of people out
yes,
moving. We love
I know.
It.
Yes. Yeah. It's great. So yeah, very exciting times as well, because registration for the Fleet Feet Liberty Mile is open.
Yeah, we're open. It's going great. We have hundreds of people already registered, and this is an event that usually, people wait until July to register. It's a mile.
Sure.
You can register 2 weeks prior. You can show up at event day to register.
Cool.
But I think this tells us that people want to get back to a live start line. It's going to be exciting this year for sure. So yeah, it's open. LibertyMile.org. They can go on to register. You can go on register now. Exciting times.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And I mean, just a reminder, and just news to folks who have never done the Liberty Mile before. There are categories for everyone. Yes, it's 1 mile distance, but there's categories. It's the one for fun. So that's folks who are just getting out there, kind of the newcomers to the mile run. We've got our Kids of Steel category for our kids who are out there completing that challenge. The pup trot. We love seeing our 4-legged runners out there every single year. Corporate challenge, of course, our masters, and then our unstoppable, which are 6 minute and under pace. Yep.
Yeah.
And then of course
we have a heat
the
for
elites.
everybody. And then the elites. People stick around and watch the elites.
Yeah.
This year, the field's going to be stacked. It'll be exciting to stick around and watch the elites kind of wrap up the night on a Friday night downtown Pittsburgh. There's nothing better than that.
Oh no. Well, I mean, I saw something on the website that the race is ranked like top 35 greatest races in
most
America,
iconic races. By
Yeah.
Runner's World. That's legit.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
The more and more people that come and see it, we continue to get recognition. And very thankful for our partner Fleet Feet. They continue to grow the race with us, and those are the partners we look for. So Bob Shore and his team at Fleet Feet just continue to help us elevate this it's a national event. So
it's a party. It is a party. And man, it's just, you go over to Market Square right afterwards and you celebrate what you just did. And you're there on a beautiful Friday night in downtown Pittsburgh. So it's just awesome.
Yep.
New this year, real quick, I want to touch upon it, the red, white, and blue registration options, which I think is really cool because, it gives you the opportunity to, experience the event at one level and just get a race t-shirt. If that's all that you want to walk away with, you've got that price point, and the price points are just ridiculously low. It's incredible what
cheap.
People. Yeah, it is.
It's very cheap.
And then,
thank God we have partners, Eric. Thank God we have partners.
Yes. I mean, it's amazing. But if you want to pay just a little bit more, you get a race medal. And then if you want to go one level above that, you get all of that plus a personalized bib, and you can really feel like one of those elite runners out there. So I don't know. It's just, you guys keep on coming up with these incredible ways for the people to enhance their experience and to customize their experience. And I think that's incredible.
Right. Great job by the marketing team here. Red, white, and blue levels. The reason is that we don't want any barriers to entry. We talk about it all the time. We don't want any barriers to have people move, right? So if you want to register for $20 and get the race and get the shirt, that's great. If you wanted that VIP level, the blue level for $35, you get a shirt, you get a medal, you get the race, you get a personalized bib that the elites are going to wear. So we just want people to have options and have no barriers to say, oh, I don't want to spend 35. I want to spend 20. I want to spend 25. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait. It's incredible. Again, registration open right now, folks. So be sure to head to the website and get in sooner than later. I'm excited for today. Again, behind the start line, behind the scenes is really what we're trying to do. Peel back the layers, get those stories, get those experiences. And, we've got a very unique component, something that I think probably people don't think about that much, but it's crazy because it's so all inclusive. It's something that we experience. I mean, it's on the wall behind you right now. P3R's branding. And it's that those things don't just happen, out of thin air. It takes a lot of hard work to accomplish and to create collaboratively. And we have a special guest today who was a major component
For
with
sure.
this organization.
Yeah, I'm excited to have him on.
Yeah.
I think, being a CEO of a business, of an organization, of an event management company, of a nonprofit, of a race organizer, I think branding is probably one of the most important things you can do,
Mhm.
by running a business. If you look at the major corporations and why they change brand, or why they go from one brand to another, or change logos, or change, how they're represented to the consumer, it's the most important thing.
Mhm.
And it was super important to us 3 years ago to have a rebrand, to really have our brand and our graphics and our marketing and our content come back to our mission, which is to inspire any and all to move with us. So I think
Sure.
Doug will talk a little bit about that today. It's exciting.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I know that it was a revolution whenever it happened. Being a part of the organization, but just also as being a fan. It really, not that the old logo wasn't great in its own way, but the
Right.
new one and the new brand just has this energy to it that you can't deny, and it just represents P3R and all the races that you put on so
Right.
well. So okay, folks, very excited today to be sitting down with partner and creative director for Wall to Wall Studios here in Pittsburgh. We've got none other than Doug Dean. Doug, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good,
Good.
good. So
Good.
excited to have you here. I mean, you've been such an integral part to this, this next generation of P3R, and we're going to dive into that a lot. But before we do so, I just wanted to get, a little bit of insight on yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to be a part of Wall to Wall Studios, just a little history.
Yeah, so I've been at Wall to Wall for uh, the majority of my professional design career. I've been working at Wall to Wall for about 14 years now. And prior
Nice.
to that, I worked somewhere else maybe for like 3 months, in addition to some internships while I was still at school. And while I was in school, Wall to Wall just had that kind of thing about it, right? So all the students, talk about all that, that's the place, to be that does all that kind of cool, interesting work. So I had an interview at Wall to Wall without a position available. Like, it was just a kind of meet and greet type of thing. And I left that interview, and Larkin, who's a creative director currently and at the time, called me up and said, "Hey, do you want to come in and do some brainstorming with us?" So I came in there, freelance for about 2 days, just to kind of work on this project. And just so happened 3 months later, position opened up. They said, "You want to jump on?" And I said, "Sure thing." So that's been 14 years since. So started as a designer, kind of just stuck around, and here I am, a creative director and a partner.
That's so
Awesome.
cool. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not a bad place to work if you've been there for 14 years. So that's a
Yeah,
good credit. And so, are you from Pittsburgh originally, or were you
that's right.
born and raised
Yeah,
here?
so
Yeah.
north of Pittsburgh, and
Okay.
more of like the kind of Cranberry area.
Sure. So maybe just tell us a little bit about your day to day. What's is your role at Wall to Wall? What do you
Yeah.
normally do once you sit down at the desk? How do you go? Yeah.
So, uh, working at a studio or an agency like Wall to Wall is pretty interesting because we work with such a variety of clients, right? So, not one day is the same as other days, mainly because projects are happening at various stages, right? So, I may be getting ready to kick off with a brand new client, kind of doing our brand workshop with them to get to know them a little deeper. And then later on, working with a design team on a design review. It may be a brainstorming session, or maybe we're kind of a couple weeks into the project where we're refining for a presentation, and then I might be doing a presentation for another client. A lot of energy and things moving in the studio life. And in addition to the variety of stages of projects, there's also a variety types of clients that we work with, right? So like P3R and, health and wellness, as well as education, banking, restaurants, people who are really smart doing AI technology. So it's a whole big world out there that we get to be immersed in every day.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I just looking at the resume of all the organizations, all the companies that you work with around the world. It's just, I have to imagine that it stays really exciting in there, and you almost can't really know what to expect on a day-to-day basis.
That's right. Yeah, we try to plan it out so we're not caught off guard.
Sure.
So our design team has plenty of time to dedicate, some of that deep work, deep thinking. But yeah, you never know who's going to be knocking at our door and wanting to work with us. And that's, the exciting part. There's always some sort of design challenge out there, and working with really smart, collaborative people out in their industries is something that I look forward to, doing every day.
Yeah. And you started with P3R, and Troy, maybe you could speak about this a little bit. It was 2018, correct? That's when the whole rebranding. I mean, that was when that was the first year that you had your hands in it, but did it start, how much before that, like how long before the wall-to-wall rebranding got unveiled did your relationship with P3R start? And maybe Troy, if you want to chat about it a little. Yeah.
So Doug, I think that even though it's on record as 2018, we know that it probably dates a little bit prior to that. And I think that's what always has amazed me about Wall to Wall. We started working with them probably early of 17. And the reason why is that the process of what we wanted to do took a while. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of back and forth. And that's kind of, it kicked off in 18, but we started in 17. And with that being said, Doug, let's talk a little bit about P3R and the process and, the brand, everything. We've worked with you guys really throughout the last 3 years, really close, as essentially a part of our team. Tell us a little bit about kind of the project that you like the most that you've done, and some of the unique projects that we've done.
So working on the marathon each year has been one of my favorite things to do, because we're constantly trying to evolve and build upon what we have already established the year prior. So it's creating that familiar brand right with your audience. So whenever they see something about the marathon, it feels right. It's like, oh yeah, like that's something that I'm a part of. I'm part of that kind of that group. But something interesting enough that it just takes it to another level, right? Where it's like, oh, like, what do you even think about, doing something like that? I love working with P3R because I think every kickoff session we have with you ends up with the word fun being involved. It's always like, we want to make this fun, right? So that's something that we learned with working with P3R over the years, that the difference between elite running and everybody else, right? So not everyone's an elite runner, and obviously whenever you host all these various races and events, it's not just those people breaking world records, right? It's really motivating everyone who can move to move, right? So in whatever way that may be, it may be a full marathon, or it may be a 5K. There's so many options that P3R can provide. So that's the exciting thing that I learned working on. That it's that balance of you want to create something that seems cool, right, and inspirational, right? But you don't want to scare people off. You want people to be able to put themselves into those running shoes and see themselves being able to do it. Like, oh, that's something that I can work towards and do, and it's going to be fun while we do it.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
You just touched on Move, right? So you guys really were there from day one when we started that whole concept, #Move Pittsburgh, and you guys have really incorporated it really into all of our campaigns. Tell us a little bit about kind of behind the scenes of essentially how that originated and how it got from where it was in 18 when we first started talking about it. And I think you touched on one key part, is that we didn't want to have any barriers for anybody. We didn't want anybody to be scared to put on shoes and show up at a start line. So talk us a little bit about from, early 17 until where the Move campaign now is as a
Mhm.
national, everybody knows #Move Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Everybody reaches out to us and say, who are you working with on your campaigns, things like that. So tell us a little bit behind the scenes on that.
That's right. So going back a couple of years, like you said, whenever we first started working on this, that was always the essence that we got out of P3R and the mission, right? That we want everybody to move. So I believe it was one of the early years where it wasn't so in your face, but we had like a headline game where we really kind of twisted that perception of what move meant, right? So you just talked about barriers, right? So it's not just moving in the sense that you're running, right? But you're moving barriers, right? You're moving the fans who are watching you run, right? So this emotional kind of aspect of move. It's moving yourself, meaning not just your body, but just your whole kind of experience of yourself and kind of pushing what you can do. So I believe we started with those types of copy lines and turning it into some sort of brand system. But then each year from there, like I said, we've been doing like evolution, kind of building upon what we started, where move just kept becoming, this key word that's been resonating with the audience. So after a couple of years of that, there was the decision of, well, let's just make that word move be like that visual thing that pulls you in. And then that opened a door to do a lot of interesting things via typography or motion graphics. So at Little Well, we love incorporating motion graphics into everything we do. It's always exciting to see a design come to life through movement. So of course, working with P3R and running, it's like, yeah, let's make some motion graphics move. So by seeing some interesting experimental kind of design with movement and just that word move kind of constantly being brought to your attention, just really created that thing that it seemed like you gravitated towards with the #Move Pittsburgh and the runners of Pittsburgh as well.
Yeah, I mean, you go to the website, you see any of the marketing material or the advertisements, and there is it's dynamic. It's always dynamic, and you see it and you can feel that you're moving just by looking at it. And like you said earlier, Doug, that element of fun is always there too, by the color scheme, by just sort of the rounded elements, and it's fun and it's got motion. I just checked out today everything that you've been doing with the 4-Run-2 Varsity, and I feel like it's just transcended into that, and with the V being the arrows that are sort of pushing forward, and it's just everything's tied together, and yet everything has its own unique flares. And but you're right, move and fun is kind of at the heart of it all. But it's fun to see everything you guys are developing, everything that's coming out. It just really it's cool. I want to be a teenager again because I want to be a part of the 4-Run-2 Varsity, because the gear and like the the branding that's on there, it's hip, it's cool. I love it.
Yeah, so. I think that's tapping into a quote that I say commonly in our presentations, that we're building the P3R universe, right? So P3R is your parent brand, but there's so many extensions coming off of that, whether it's marathon or the other races or the newly created 4-Run-2 Varsity, and that just keeps opening up doors where we can keep kind of finding elements of doing this cool experimental design to communicate the essence of fun, but it all kind of points back to P3R, right? So there's intent in how we design things, that it can all relate together, but kind of have its own personalities. I believe that 2021, the year that we're doing right now with the marathon coming up, is probably a year where we really let loose the most, and decided in our design presentation, which was about a year ago, that all right, we've been hearing fun and we're getting to know each other a little bit, so we have some comfortability here. So why not try concepts like this that might make some people feel like, I don't know, all these flying bananas and kind of 3D shapes. But I was really happy to hear, after we did that presentation, that it resonated with your team, that you were like, yep, that's it. That's the fun we're looking for. Right. So let's go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and this really, if you think about it, Doug, this dates back. This all started with the rebrand of P3R, right? So Doug and his team put together the whole rebrand for P3R, incorporated the movement that we were looking to in the whole rebrand of our organization, and then built from there, starting with the marathon of 19, other events, websites, and things like that. So that's where this whole, really the basis of it started, was the rebrand of P3R. We felt like we needed a fresh look. We needed some movement within our logo, and now our logo is everywhere. So it's weird how it started with a rebrand and it's turned into what Doug says is the universe of P3R.
It's a revolution. I feel like entirely it's taken over. I mean, you even go to an event that, doesn't even have the same color scheme as most of the P3R events. You go to the Gap Relay, but yet those elements are still there. And so you guys have really just paintbrushed everything. You've let it just go all throughout the universe. And again, it just really, as a consumer, as someone who like wants to be a part of these events, I know that it just makes you want to do more. You want to be involved with it more because it feels comfortable. It feels, like home. And you're just like, oh, here's another one of those amazing events by P3R. And it looks and it feels the same. And I want to get out there and move for it. So it's huge kudos,
Thank you. It taps into philosophy at Wall to Wall, where we view emotional connections like that to an audience as currency, right? We call that brand currency, right? Where you can spend, millions of dollars on a campaign like Coca-Cola and constantly barrage people with ads, and that's one way to kind of get out there. But another way, and it's a little bit more obtainable by a lot of organizations, is to build that connection, right? Where people feel like they're part of something, and it makes them, get something whenever they see it. So I think how you're describing, going to these events, and it's a combination of P3R's mission of, being this engine behind putting on these amazing events, right? Like, you want your runners to come to an event like this, where maybe they've been to other events and go, wow, like, they know what they're doing. They know how to put on an event. So working in collaboration with that, with how do we deliver this kind of emotional experience for runners, just has that nice kind of blend together.
It's that tribe mentality, right? You get in, you get connected to it, and you're part of that group. We're all a family because we share this experience together, and we want to come back and do it again. Yeah.
That's right.
So
Speaking of the runners, Doug, one of my favorite things is when I go around the country to other events and I see a Pittsburgh Marathon shirt, and I knew that they participated in our event. Working at an agency and being as creative as you are, and putting together all these campaigns, not just for P3R, for different corporations and big, small. What's the feeling you get when you might see one of your friends tag #move Pittsburgh, and knowing that you are the creator of that, or knowing somebody, maybe in a different city use the hashtag or participate in one of the events and maybe use some of the, graphics that you guys have put together? What's the feeling behind that?
That's a great feeling. It's a very fulfilling feeling, because that's our whole goal, right? So it's to deliver exceptional work for our clients like yourselves, right? And that's kind of a definite. But whenever we see that it's actually making that impact and people are embracing it, that's when we know, okay, we're doing something right here, and let's take note of that and see why is that working so well. And I think the reason why it works so well is just it comes off as authentic and real, right? People can sense, BS, right? And people are very savvy nowadays. So if your promise to your audience, is true, right? So like P3R's, right? Your mission is to keep Pittsburgh running, and every one of your employees of this organization believes in that. That really shines through, and I think that's why people really resonate with what you're doing. It is interesting to see people out there, wearing shirts, merchandise, and actually, participating in the marathon and seeing, the work that's out there. There's something about that makes it really real too. So, we present concepts. A lot of things are, digitally on screens, PDFs and things like that. But once things start getting implemented and there's this kind of tangible thing. There's this element that as a designer, you just kind of have this aha of like, well, this is something that was just conceptual, but now it's real. And that's really cool to have happen.
Speaking of real too, Doug, the ultimate professional in you, the great partner of P3R, started working with us, and then you started participating in our events. And I'm sure, like, I think that's twofold though. I think you're very business savvy, that you wanted to get out there and see more probably. And then you probably bought into our mission as well. And you said, well, I love what they're doing. So tell us a little bit about that experience, going from not being a runner, creating our new branding, and then you're a participant now.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. It was a mix of really believing, what your mission was, and being influenced by that, and working with you. That I just decided, let's live the experience for real, and maybe that's going to help out with the design, as well as personal reasons of health and just staying in shape and just seeing it as a challenge. Right. So it just made sense to do so. For the past 2 years, so the virtual one from last year and the in-person one was my first time doing it. And I would say I still have very vivid kind of memories of that experience. Right. So I'm really glad that I was able to do the in-person race going through downtown Pittsburgh.
What distance? Which event did you do? Sorry to interrupt, Doug.
I did the half marathon, so the 13 mile one, right?
Serious.
Maybe I'll do the full one down the line. But that's the next challenge, right? But did the half. And what was really amazing is that it wasn't just the experience of the physicality of running. That was surely part of it. But it was the whole kind of sensory experience of the sights that you're seeing, that you're actually right there in the middle of the street of the place where you're usually driving your car, right? Across bridges and through the towns. And the hearing the cheering fans, and as you're coming into each neighborhood and kind of experiencing this whole new world that you're entering, your feet just kind of hitting the pavement over and over again, just that feeling that you're just about to head down that last hill, and you have a guy screaming at you saying, "It's all downhill from now. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it." Right? It's the whole thing, right? And I think upon experiencing that, really led to what we end up doing for that 2021 brand that's out there right now, just because it is such an explosive sensory kind of feel to it, and that was a takeaway that I wanted to kind of create that feeling of just kind of this kind of good, craziness and energy kind of happening, where a lot of things are going on and coming at you and experiencing textures and shapes. So that was the goal of 21, to kind of capture that emotion and kind of bring it into it visually.
I mean, that's so key. Thank goodness that you jumped into and did that. And it's one thing. I know you guys work with Burgatory. It's one thing to go sit down at a restaurant and order a burger. It's a whole other thing. It's a whole other thing to be like, I'm going to run 13 miles to experience this. So again, props to you for doing that. And you could have also done the 5K the day before, but you chose to do the half marathon. So that's awesome.
That's right. Yeah. And it got me into running a lot more. So it's part of my, routine now. Especially during, working virtually, that it's just nice that, if I have a half an hour before a meeting or something, that I'll just, put on the shoes and run a couple miles, just to, do that for my day. And I tell you what, whenever I come back to a meeting after a good run, I'm refreshed and on. So, running has been a positive impact in my life.
That's so cool. Well, speaking of virtual, I know something that Troy and I are really excited to talk about, and I don't know how much we are going to shed light on here. So I'll let you two kind of figure out how much is going to be kept secret.
Breaking news on the pod.
Yes, breaking news for sure. Super excited about this year's expo, about this year's virtual experience. I mean, I don't know a ton about it because I'm not that inside with the organization yet. But I do know from what I'm hearing, it's groundbreaking. It's unlike anything that we've ever seen at a virtual event, at an expo. And so whatever we can glean from both of you right now.
I'm excited to talk about it.
Let's do it.
We're always looking how to become better in the next best thing and to be best, like the best in the country. Right. So over the last 14, 15 months, everybody's doing virtual events. Everybody's trying, virtual expos where you go on and you buy a shirt. We wanted to step it up a notch. Obviously worked with Doug and his team and said, how can we make this a really overarching, everything all in one box, one-stop shop, not just a virtual expo where I can go on and buy noon, but a virtual expo in experience. We're always looking for that experience, and we can't have that experience of a live start line or finish line this year. How do we bottle it all up and put it on a platform that it lives? You can go by noon, but you can also look at training plans. You can look at course maps. You can take a virtual finish line photo and load it. You can tell your friends when you're running. You can tell your friends your time. You can send virtual cheers. It is all in one. The platform is absolutely amazing. Doug and his team, as well as our marketing team and partnerships team, have just done an amazing job. We're so excited to launch it because we really do feel it's a game changer, right? So we're going to get back to live events, but this is an element that can always live, right? So we have people from around the world competing virtually with us. Those people aren't always going to be able to come into Pittsburgh, but when we launched this platform, people in Germany are going to be able to go on and tell us when they're running. They might run the same day as the marathon, just in Berlin. They're going to be able to send cheer cards or virtual cheer cards to their friends and family that are running live. So Doug, tell us a little bit about, I know that there was a lot that went into it. You guys have been working so hard. Tell us a little bit about behind the scenes of that, and how it kind of came to life to what I've seen today, as far as really within a week, I think we're launching it. So it's ready to go.
Yeah. We're working towards that. We're really excited about it. And you had a lot of great ways of describing it. Whenever we had the kickoff meeting with P3R about this, something that really stood out to me was the fact that he didn't want this to be a waste of anyone's time, right? He didn't want it to be this lame thing where you just open it up and it's like, why do I need to bother with this? And you also had a very good list of features that you would like for this to have. So the challenge there for us was, how do we deliver these really great ideas and experiences, but in a way that isn't overwhelming, right? So say like you just came to a site and it's just, 100 things, right? You want to know what to do with it or why you would pick something over the other. So it needed to be something that tied into the runner's journey, right? So from, getting ready for the race, for what's happening on race day, to what happens once you complete the race. So once we started mapping out that user journey, we're able to kind of deliver those experiences kind of throughout, whatever mindset that runner's going to be at the time. So that was the big thing that we had to figure out, because we were at the list of, really, really cool experiences that you wanted runners to have. It was just more of like, how do we deliver it in a way that's going to be user-friendly and makes a lot of sense? And while it is a website, we really took an app-like approach to it, right? So how are we going to make it feel in a way that people feel comfortable using other apps, right, that enhance their daily lives? So we wanted to make sure that this experience, virtual experience that we were creating, was able to do that for people.
Yeah. I don't think I did it justice. I think Doug just explained it a little bit better. I just can't wait for people to get a hold of it. We have 5,500 people currently registered for the virtual marathon. But this is something that we're going to be able to use for, like I said, for all of our events. It's really a one-stop shop. And Eric, we're not the easiest team to work with because our expectations are so high.
The bar's up there.
The bars, and Doug knows this. But his team just continued to create what we've asked for and add these elements. And he touched on it. We still needed to be user-friendly, though. We have all these ideas, but we didn't want it to be that somebody would be overwhelmed when they got onto the platform. And the way that it's structured now, it's very simple. My kids could get on and use it and tell me when they're, doing their 5K or their kids marathon. They could print out a cheer card or send a virtual cheer card. It's really user friendly. So we're super excited. It's really, I believe, the first in the industry, this, complex and with so many things on it. So super excited.
And what's the launch date? Sorry. I was just going to say, what's the launch date?
Yeah, we'll be launching in the next week. Yep.
Next week. Okay.
Yeah. And so I was just going to say that through dealing with the pandemic and a lot of kind of virtual experiences being created, that it creates the opportunity, right, to deliver, a pretty interesting design challenge. And it so happens, a company like P3R and these kind of in-person physical events was impacted by that. So, how do we still enhance that experience? But how do we do it in a way that, next year, it's just gone and forgotten, right? So it's really exciting to be working on these things, not just for, the week that's coming up for the marathon, but just in the future, that this is always going to be part of the experience, no matter what.
Yeah. Those are some of those silver linings to the pandemic that I've been talking about all throughout this process is finding, again, talk about pivoting and going into areas that otherwise you never would have entered into, and developing these new things that are so exciting and help tremendously right now, but can live on and have their own little legacy. You get goosebumps thinking about that sort of stuff. Cause it's like, man, things happen for a reason. People are going to be able to connect more than ever before with the Pittsburgh Marathon forever, indefinitely, and it's because of what you all are doing during these challenging times right now. And I'm pumped. I'm super excited to see what it's all about next week. So
Awesome.
Bring it on. Yeah. I have a question that came up. Now we're, again, this is behind the start line. We're trying to peel back the layers, and this might be a little bit too insider information. So, we can pump the brakes if you need to, but I get a sense that, Doug, maybe was it you who came up, like, if we can pinpoint the person who developed move as the term, was it you or was it someone inside P3R? We can edit this out if I'm screwing things up for someone here, but I just wanted to, I thought, in the sense of the nature and the spirit of the show, we got to ask these revealing questions.
Yeah, I would say it wasn't just me coming up with, so let's use move. It was definitely from P3R hearing that what we're doing isn't about elite running, but it's about movement, right? Getting the community to move. And I think the insight from there was, well, let's just make that a very heroic thing. I'm not sure in the days that we were starting to make that happen a little bit more, we probably presented two ideas, right? One, that move is a little bit more kind of baked into, the sense of the brand, and one where move was the almost like a logo type of thing, right? Where this is the element of this season. In fact, I think it was the word move, right, with the arrow kind of and the O that can do a lot of things. And I think once that was presented and P3R gravitated towards it, that's whenever that door opened up and it's like, okay, move is the thing, right? So, it's not that I don't think one person can take credit for it. I think it was just that thing that's always been out there, and we just made an example of here's how we can make it into a heroic thing, and then it just clicked and made sense.
Collaborative effort.
I think it was definitely collaborative. I think, we changed our mission statement, and within our mission statement was inspire any and all to move with us. And then we started talking with Wall to Wall about, and they probably said, well, the word move is in there. How do we take this? How do we take it out of your mission statement? And that's how, definite collaboration, definite, Eric, we talk a lot on the podcast about partnerships. I mean, these guys are a perfect example of partnerships. We want to see them succeed. They want to see us succeed. They're an actual partner of the Pittsburgh Marathon. Wall to Wall is an official partner of the Pittsburgh Marathon. And that's how closely we work together. So definite team effort here.
Cool. Well, It's exciting, and the things you've changed in just these short 3 years have been pretty astounding, not just for the organization, but just all of the thousands, tens of thousands of people who have been involved. Probably hundreds of thousands of people that have been involved in the event since then, and all of the events. So, again, big props, and keep up the great work, Doug. It's awesome.
Great. Thanks, Dan. I guess what I'm going to be heading right into a design internal for 2022. So that is in the works as we speak. So I'll be meeting with our designers, and we're getting ready for the next year. So
nice. Well, we're
always something new, right?
Absolutely.
Always something new, and that's why it's so exciting. So cool. Yeah. Well, hey, Doug, before we let you go here, we've got a question. You're a runner officially now. You've done it. So a question that we ask all of our runners on the pod here, and this was a new one that we came up with recently, is do you have any special race day routines, like before the race? Something that's yours, that's quirky. What is it, if you have one?
I don't think there's anything quirky. I'll do yoga stretches and chug a energy drink, and that's it. Maybe listen to some punk music, some fast-paced punk music that gets me pumped up. Yeah.
Yep. So I love that. So yeah, I'm a DJ, so that might have to become the new question is, what's your morning music? Pump up music, race day morning pump up music. So.
There's a song from they're a Pittsburgh band that I do design work for, Anti-Flag, and they have a song that is so inspirational that there's a line in it where it says something about how the sun is rising. The song's called Unbreakable, right? And that song, anytime it comes on, it makes me think of running, because it's all about kind of rising above, some difficulties. And just that part where it just talks about the sun rising, just makes me think of those early morning runs. You're up before anybody else.
Right.
The city's just waking up. There's the sun, and you're already out there on mile 5. Getting your day ready. And it's a very, very cool, powerful feeling. So yeah, music is a good way to kind of get myself pumped up.
I like that. Well, I've written that one down. I'll add it to the start line playlist for you.
Yeah, Unbreakable. Yeah. That's the official running song for me.
I like it. That's perfect. Doug, this has been great. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your dedication to the organization and to all of the organizations that you work with. Again, so many. There's that list. I could go through it, but just go check out Wall to Wall's website if you all are interested in seeing some great work. And it's impacting here locally, but also around the globe as well.
Well, thanks, Doug. We appreciate the partnership. Keep up the good work.
I appreciate it too.
Yep.
Thanks.
Wow. Exciting. So many things to look forward to, and what a great guest to tell us all about it. That was perfect.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
It's, Doug, his whole team really. Creative people amaze me. You can tell that dude's always thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
sure.
what they come up with. And listen, like I said, I don't think we're the easiest because we have really, really high standards in the back and forth and their creations and what they've done over the last 3 years. That guy just always amazes me. Great in a meeting,
for sure.
Just one of those, in a meeting, takes it all in, thinks about it, waits to express his words. Unlike me, I'm all, you know what you get with me. Doug's a little, he's a creative thinker, a little bit different. So,
well, they're the type of people that are worth every single penny. You bring them in and they take your vision to places that you would have never thought of on your own. And it's just, it's amazing. So.
Well, they stand out too. Doug said that he went in, to do a brainstorming session with Larkin, who's one of the partners, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sure Doug stood out to Larkin, and Larkin probably said, and I've done this, is like, we need to find a way to hire this person.
Yeah. Make room.
And, make room for him. 2 months later, Doug's, and now he's a partner, been there for 13 years. Just a great overall team at Wall to Wall. Like I said, they're one of our partners. So even though they're a vendor, essentially, I guess, our agency of record, they're a partner.
Mm-hmm.
We work so closely with them. We would never call them like our agency, like we'd call them a partner. So just a great team over there.
Yeah, and I love the investment that they make. I love the fact that Doug is now a runner, and runs races with P3R. It's just
tremendous.
Yeah, it really is. It shows his dedication to his craft, and then also to you all. So it's really awesome. I'm so excited for this virtual expo. If I didn't say it 3 times already, it's like it's going to be so much fun to check out, to see, where you all are, the journey, the next step that you all are taking us on. And I really do think it's a step forward to just another legacy builder.
I'm excited too. And the reason, like, it's such a clean look, like what Wall to Wall does, it presents such clean looks. So it's not going to be overwhelming to any runner that jumps onto the platform. It's very easy to navigate. If you don't want to do one of the things, if you don't want to, watch a video about training, you can go on, like I said, you can buy Noon, you can tell us when you're running. I just think that they've done a really good job of making it very easy for our participants. And it's something that, like Doug mentioned, it's going to be around for a long time. I'm sure people are going to copy us in the industry, because I think it's
no doubt
going to be super effective. So
yeah,
super excited.
Totally.
To watch it.
Imitation's the best form of flattery. So that's awesome.
That's what they say.
Yeah, it means you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, folks, if you haven't noticed, we're all about your all's experience and listening and just like Doug was saying, really taking in those emotions and that experience. And so a way that we could get some help from you, from our listeners, from our viewers, is just if you have any ideas, anything that you would love to see incorporated in future Pittsburgh Marathon or P3R campaigns, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Again, we have our email behindtheline@p3r.org. That's the perfect place for you to go ahead and send some ideas, ways to make the future marathon weekend experiences a little bit more, in tune with what you would like to see. So it's all about your all experience. So this is the opportunity to let us know, please.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah. And, same thing. We are asking you all to let us know more about the podcast as well. Please send in some questions, some comments. This week, we do have a question that came to us. This one comes from Erica. Great name. She's asking which race we're most excited about this year in 2021 and why. I know what mine is. I don't know. Troy, do you want to kick things off, or what do you think?
Kick it off.
Yeah.
And this is a tough one. I saw this question pop up.
It is tough. Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to say I'm excited for all of them, which I am. I'm super excited for all of them.
Yeah.
However, the first one back from being off for 17 months, there's going to be a little bit something special about, July 23rd, downtown Pittsburgh, Fleet Feet Liberty Mile. If you ask me in August, I'll say the flyby or the great race. If you ask me in October, I'll say the gap or the 10 miler. Right now, I just can't wait to get back to a live one.
Yeah. I mean, in the great words of Meatloaf, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, it's exactly what I was going to say word for word. I cannot wait. Again, goosebumps. I'm getting them every time I think about it. And that race, we talked about it today already, is that it's just, it's got so much energy and incredible fun wrapped all around it. But this year in particular, it's just going to be, I mean, I think people are going to be losing their minds because it's just going to be so incredible. So, yep. Fleet Feet Liberty Mile registration's open right now. It's going to be the best. Let's get there. So
can't wait.
Can't wait.
We've said it 1,700 times on this podcast. Can't wait till there's a podcast that we can talk about a live event.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, let's recap a live event.
Yes.
Have some participants on, maybe do some live hits from the actual event for the podcast. Something. Yeah. Just so we get back to live events. And
I love all those ideas, by the way.
We're so close.
So close. It'll be here before we know it.
Absolutely.
Erica, thank you so much for your question. Folks, if you want to send in questions or comments as well, again, behindtheline@p3r.org is the way to do it. We really appreciate all of your feedback, your interaction, and we appreciate you all for listening and tuning in to Behind the Start Line. Remember, please follow us on social media if you'd like to at Run with P3R, and reach out to us again with any questions or feedback at behindtheline@p3r.org. I've been your host, Eric Burnett. Troy, you're awesome as always. Thank you.
Good time. I'll see you next time, Eric.
See you next time. Can't wait, folks. In the meantime, have fun and keep moving.